This video was made in association with African Custom Knives. ACK is the leading US-based purveyor of South African handmade cutlery. Head over to africancustomknives.com for exclusive deals on rare custom knives. What is up, everybody, and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this HEAdesigns Poison, as well as a quick glimpse at the Sabertooth as well. Now, these come to us on loan from African Custom Knives, and specifically, they both belong to Nathan's personal collection. Big thanks for them sending these along, and I am, of course, excited to bring another HEAdesigns knife to the channel. If you guys can remember, kind of a quick blast to the past, I do have this HEAdesigns Equilibrium. This is sort of a one of with the green frame and blue hardware. And that's a big thanks to Sam back when I worked with him on writing a review for Knife Informer on this knife and making a video as well. So I've met Sam in real life before, and he's a great dude. He's a super friendly guy. He is so into knife making and just kind of the knife world and the knife community. He's really friendly, really easy to get a hold of, and I love supporting Sam because supporting Sam is, you know, supporting all the good things in knife making. So let's get this knife out of the way. You guys have seen that plenty. And let's talk about the Poison. Now, these knives, the Poison and the Antidote, were released at Blade Show 2017. Sam actually did a little launch event. It was pretty cool. I was there. Go check out that video if you are able. But I haven't had an opportunity to get one on the table until now, and that's because it just wasn't quite the knife for me and my personal collection, but, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that. So what's the difference between the Poison and the Antidote? Well, what you're looking at here is the Poison, and you can see here that it's the same kind of interesting pill shape as the Sabertooth, which was the original product that Sam released under the HEAdesign umbrella. And that was pretty interesting back in the day. You know, it's obviously not a knife. It is a comb, but it is a full titanium construction with S35 VN steel. And so this was kind of his foray into introducing the world to the HEAdesigns name. Now, a lot of people said when he made this, I want that as a knife. It's such a great flipper. You know, I really like the design. It's so pretty. I like the clean kind of pill shape. And so Sam kind of obliged, and, you know, a couple years later came out with the Antidote and Poison. So what you're looking at here is the Poison, and how you can denote the difference between the two models, because they are both the exact same shape, is that the Poison has all of this interesting milling going on in the center here. Sam really wanted to do sort of a futuristic kind of sci-fi theme to the knife, and so that's where you get some of these hieroglyphic, almost alien kind of shapes that are milled into the knife, and then also on the reverse side, so milled all around here, kind of throughout the shape of the knife and into the clip. Now, the Antidote is going to be the exact same overall shape of knife, same blade, same everything, except you're just going to have a clean milled finish. Just this little kind of diagonal line pattern that you can see is all you're going to have on an Antidote. It'll just be void of all of this extra kind of deep milling on both the clip and the frame. Now, personally, if I was going to own one of these, I would own the Antidote. I just really like that clean pill look. This knife is super cool as well and very interesting. I particularly like the milling that goes around the pivot area here. I think that looks super sick. Now, Nathan himself is a fan of Star Wars, so you can see in both getting the futuristic knife, he added on a Yoda lanyard, which is super cool because not only does it kind of match the sci-fi theme being Star Wars, but it also matches in terms of color. You can see we have Yoda green on the knife, as well as the kind of bronze tan color that the rest of the robe sort of part of the lanyard is made up of. So very, very cool there. I really like this lanyard, and I have kind of I don't want to pat my own back, but I have a pretty sweet picture of this knife up on my Instagram right now, so go check that out at tovarishworks. Now, looking at this knife, there's a couple aspects of it that we, of course, need to address. First is that this blade is pretty interesting. Sam was really happy with the complexity of this blade. If you go back and look at my video from Blade Show, you can see how excited he was to talk about the 4 different grinds that he so often mentioned. So what you can see here is we have a flat grind here, sort of a flat grind, snub nose Tonto. So flat grind here, flat grind here, flat grind here, and then up in the swedge area, because you can see there is a flat, you can see that satin finish flat, kind of just peeking through here. And then this is actually another bevel or swedge. And you can see here that he's milled this shape out, and then he's also cut even deeper in the shape of a circle at the edge here. So he was super happy with the complexity there. I think it's interesting. I think it makes maybe the knife not super perfect for gunky tasks, but you know, that kind of is what it is. And a little bit of uniqueness on a flipper goes a long way. I've actually met a lot of people who own this knife and who like totally love it and just love the blade shape. Particularly Advanced Knife Bro was explaining to me that this is like one of the #1 knives that he carries now. It fits very well into his jacket pocket when he's at work because it's a smaller knife, and he thinks that the blade shape and all of that going on is very cool. So Sam obviously struck the hearts of many with the overall design of this knife, and that's definitely something to appreciate. Now, moving on, I want to talk about something it's kind of a pet peeve on all of Sam's knives that I have, which is the tightness with which he does everything. So he does a really strong lock bar on his knives. And when I say really strong, I mean like you can't fidget with this. Like I'm struggling to even get the lock bar to disengage with just my thumb. This is really one that I find using 2 hands on pretty frequently just to close it, because he does these like insanely strong lock bars. You can see that the relief cut here leaves about half of the material in the lock bar. And, you know, it's like that on my equilibrium as well. It's just, you know, it's a bit bigger on the equilibrium, so there's a little bit more ease to it. But it was a complaint that I had all the way back on that video. And I honestly think I've kind of bent the lock bar back on this one. I kind of played with this knife a lot a while ago, last year. And obviously I haven't done that on this knife because it's not mine. But that's, you know, when I've asked Sam about that, and he said it's a safety thing, and that that's it. It's a safety thing for him, and he doesn't want like a free dropping knife. He doesn't want a knife that's going to, you know, disengage on you when you least expect it. And so, you know, that's fine. If that's how he wants to build his knives, then I support him. But not going to be the best fidget flipper because of that. Now, I will say that the knives that he makes are incredibly smooth. He is running on a bearing system in this knife. I believe they're ceramic bearings, if I remember from disassembling my equilibrium over there. But, you know, this knife close is super smooth. You can see there's no point at which it catches on anything. It's just really clean. But it's just got that really strong lock bar, so you can shake it shut, but you really got to whip it. And with this particular lanyard on there, that doesn't go super well. Something else that Sam was really happy with in terms of the complexity is you can see the lanyard hole is partially cut out of the frame and partially cut out of the back bar. It's not centered. Now, that is not just an aspect of complexity for complexity's sake. It is a useful design element in that, or insofar as when you actually have the knife in your pocket, the clip is on the right side. And so what pushing the lanyard to the right side will do is actually have the lanyard kind of out more to where it needs to be, where you're actually going to be reaching for it, as opposed to centered where it might be falling a little bit more backwards. So it's a really small detail, but it was something that Sam was both happy to accomplish from an engineering perspective, so such kind of a clean cutout of 2 different pieces of material while also serving the user in a slightly more useful way. So that's definitely something I can appreciate. Now, I don't believe I've done specs on this knife yet. My bad. Let's go ahead and take a look at a size comparison so you guys can understand when I'm talking about this being a smaller knife, the overall scale of what we're working with. Alright, and as you guys can see here, the knife is dwarfed in length by even the likes of the Rat 2. Overall length, we are looking at only 7 inches. It is a small little knife, guys. You know, the thickness in terms of the frame, even though it is contoured, I believe at its peak, it is similar in thickness to the PM2. And, you know, the frame, though, is still shorter than the frame of the Rat 2, and the blade is shorter than the blade of the Rat 2. So this is going to be a good fit for somebody that needs a small EDC, maybe lives in California or something like that. With a smaller blade, it's going to be really fitting for those reasons. Now, I particularly like the Tonto blade shape because, as you guys have seen in previous videos, I like Tontos because they function very well for my primary use, which is opening boxes that have other knives in them. And so Tontos are really great for being able to puncture the sort of tape on a box without actually piercing all the way through and potentially damaging the items on the inside. So that's something that I can appreciate for sure. Now, in terms of carrying this knife, the clip does function pretty well, although the ramp is a little bit nubby for me and a little bit shallow. This is going to be 2 hands in and out, and that is another area of tightness on Sam's knives that I just, it's like, it's okay tension, but it's definitely going to be 2 hands in and out. Now, in terms of the flipper tab, a lot of people have sort of take issue with Sam's flipper tabs. As you can see here, he pretty consistently does this design that really sticks out. It sticks out pretty far. You can see on the Sabertooth, it all began with kind of there's no jimping on this one, and it's kind of symmetrical in shape. This one, it evolved into the same symmetric shape, but there was jimping on the edge. I sung a lot of praise about this flipper tab actually in my equilibrium video, so you can go check that out. My opinion's there. And then you can see the evolution here is that he's kind of made it asymmetrical now, so that the contouring of your finger fits a little bit better. The jimping has been placed a little bit better for better grip, and overall, I can really appreciate this evolution of the flipper tab. However, people's complaint is that when it's in the pocket, it likes to grab things. And yeah, that's pretty true. Now, I don't typically keep things in my knife pocket except for my wallet, and I haven't had any issues with this catching my wallet, but as Nick Shabazz would say, it is most definitely a pocket pecker, so that is something to be wary of when looking at his knives. So moving on here, that's pretty much everything I have to say about the Poison. It's going to make a great little EDC. It deploys fantastically. You can shake it shut, but it's not the most super smooth just because of that extra strong lock bar tension. And again, maybe not the best fidget flipper just because of that strong lock bar tension. We will take a quick look at the Sabertooth here. As I mentioned before, this was the product that got HEAdesigns on the market, and the flowy milling that he's done on this thing is insane. So check this out. You have the general pill shape we talked about. You can see the sort of diagonal line milling as well. Then you have this wave shape kind of cut out here pretty significantly. Okay. And then on the reverse side, that shape is mirrored in the frame. Then the shape is mirrored in the pocket clip. And then the shape is mirrored in the lock bar cutout. Super cool. And then the shape is mirrored here as well through the prongs. So incredible flow here. And you can actually see this shape go all the way through, cleanly travel into the shape of the milling on the frame itself. And overall, this comb is freaking gorgeous. I asked Sam after I got this one in my hands if I could still find them in stock, and he did point me in the right direction. They are $200. They are discontinued. There are a couple left on Knife Center in gray and bronze. I may or may not be buying one. I really want one. It's just $200 right now for a comb. Is a little steep, but it's really worth it, guys. So again, S35V in steel, normal titanium flipper construction. You have the stainless steel lock bar insert and everything. The clip is going to function just about to the same quality level as I explained this clip would, and it obviously flips great. You can shake it shut if you'd like, and as a comb, it functions very well. It is a bit thick, but I was able to use this on my hair, and it was perfectly fine. So definitely a reasonable comb. And then my favorite thing about this thing is the sound that it makes when it deploys, because all these little prongs act as little like tuning forks. So check this out. I really hope that comes across. So you can hear that shing, that kind of vibrating metallic sound. Very, very cool on this thing. These failed deployments, by the way, are my fault. That's just me tugging on the flipper tab wrong. That's no slight on the product. So if you were looking for a premium comb that kind of feels like a frame lock flipper, this is obviously the one and only for you. And while I did say that the price is a little bit steep for me for a comb, I'm probably going to end up pulling the trigger on one of these and sending it over to Tie Spectrum to get, just because I want the purple one like this and then to sub out some hardware, but because I won't be able to get my hands on these brand new, I'll probably get a gray one and then see what Tie Spectrum's able to do to really bring all of these shapes and lines to life, because I think he could do a kick-ass job. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Big thanks to African Custom Knives and Nathan for sending these knives along. It was really, really interesting for me to be able to check them out on a longer scale than just touching them at Blade Show. So I really appreciate that. I hope you guys learned a little bit. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask. You can email me at tovarishworks@gmail.com. And of course, if you'd like to see beautiful pictures of all these knives, particularly the one I talked about with this poison, you can do so by following me on Instagram at tovarishworks. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.